Are you paying attention? Because all of these pieces are starting to come together right now, and I know it's hidden behind all of this blather of banking terminology about cross-border payments and blah-de-blah, multilateral institutions, but no, listen to what is being said beyond the KYC, know your customer type of lingo and all of that. National identification systems are going to have to be part of constructing this know your customer ecosystem that will not only identify each and every person on this planet for the sake of the national governments, but then there will have to be cross-border regimes set up so that different systems can interact with each other virtually, instantaneously around the world. I guess there will have to be some sort of coordinating global institution that will be able to harness all of this data and make sure it all talks together nicely, and, you know, maybe something like the IMF, whatever. We'll work out those details. But yes, we'll need some sort of just global identification system rolled out. I mean, the problem is that this might be really expensive to have this kind of, you know, like an Indian Aadhaar system of biometric IDing a billion people or something along those lines. I mean, those systems don't exactly just create themselves, and it might be difficult for developing countries to be able to electronically ID all their tax cattle. I mean, all of their population. So these developing countries will need some monetary help with this. I mean, if only there were some generous philanthropists that out of the bottom of their own good hearts were willing to put in some money on such an obviously important issue. If only there were some brave and wonderful billionaire philanthropists who understood the importance of creating these ID systems.
I don't need to tell you that the poor have been unbanked for as long as there have been banks. Why is this time different?
Well, it's really the digital revolution. The poorest have, bought cows, stored gold, put currency under their mattress, but they are getting cell phones, and the cell phone capability of identifying who's using the cell phone, letting you look at your spending patterns, that's going to be common sense. People are going to have help and lots of innovative products competing on top of this digital currency platform.
So if technology, mobile phones for example, digital money, helps to increase access to financial services at the same time as it lowers the cost of delivery, why is philanthropy needed?
Philanthropy should just be here to bootstrap this. There are a lot of regulations in this area, and understanding how those regulations can make the cost of remittances, where you're sending money back to your family in your country of origin, how right now that has about a 5% overhead on it. We think we have a role to make sure that, particularly for the smaller transactions, the regulations don't impose those very high costs. Once this gets going, then we'll step up to the applications and say, okay, how does a savings application help the mother make sure money's focused on the kids? How does it help them stay in school, set money aside for the uniform or for good future planning?
Some of what you just described, the need to move money from place to place, the cost of doing so, the overhead, as you put it, makes me think, believe it or not, of Bitcoin, because some people have said, hey, Bitcoin is the answer to those problems. Are you a believer?
Well, Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place. And, of course, for large transactions, currency can get pretty inconvenient. The customers we're talking about aren't trying to be anonymous. They're willing to be known. So the Bitcoin technology is key, and you could add to it, or you could build a similar technology where there's enough attribution that people feel comfortable. This has nothing to do with terrorism or any type of money laundering.
Yes, of course. Who else did you expect? Yes, as anyone who has hopefully not just read or listened to, but actually digested the information in my Who is Bill Gates documentary will know by now. Yes, Bill Gates has his dirty mittens all over the concept of digital identification, and specifically national digital ID schemes that can be tied into biometrics that can then be coupled with vaccines and vaccine certificates and quantum dot tattoos and all of this. It all fits together, as you will know if you have watched Who is Bill Gates, and you'll know. But on a more serious note, yeah, Bill Gates attempting to articulate everything that he is involved in is a monumental, Herculean task. It is incredible because, as I hope people know by now, yes, I did do a 2-hour documentary on Bill Gates earlier this year. Me and Brock, literally, two of us, working flat out for 1 month, did a 2-hour documentary. I still cannot believe we did that, but we did it. And still only covered a fraction of what we could have covered in a documentary like that. That could be a 10-hour documentary. I don't think that Bill Gates is the center of the web and he controls everything, but he's just a focal point and clearly a funding device for so many different things that are going on. And from there, you can start to branch out and find out what was Fauci and the National Institute for Infectious Diseases doing with their gain of function research, and what were they doing in Wuhan? And wasn't that illegal? Wasn't that technically illegal when they were actually doing that back in 2014, 15? And then you start to branch out into Charles Lieber and all these like bioelectronics and bacterial phages that they're weaponizing and in order to infect you with solutions and not just the mRNA vaccines, but the next step of piezoelectronics and quantum dot tie 2s and nanowires, self-assembling nanoassemblies that they're going to start injecting people with. You start learning about this stuff, and yeah, so Bill Gates is just a convenient focal point from which we can start to understand these other agendas that are at play right now.